welcome everybody, and of course the ABAPConf team for having us here and give us the opportunity to share our knowledge with you. My name is Robert Eijpe. I'm a strategic enterprise architect and also SAP mentor. And I will do that session together with my colleague Octavian Savu. And yeah, we hope that we can bring our knowledge we had for 1.5 years now building a product on a public cloud to it. And yeah, I hope that you will join the session. Okay, so we will do a couple of things we want to share with you. We saw an opportunity to build a product, so that was our first thing. And of course, we want to do that with ABAP Cloud. And yeah, when starting that with ABAP Cloud, of course, you will have some troubles and you will have some faults. And yeah, we will share that with you. And then I think the main point of this this presentation is that we want to share the challenges and workarounds we had to do to make it to a real product, and of course some takeaway points. So if you look at S/4HANA, we saw also a couple of sessions before S/4HANA extensibility options. Then you will see that nowadays, if you have an S/4HANA system, you have really a lot of ways to extend your system. But as mentioned also in the presentation of Karl Kessler, if you have extensibility options, you use the key user extensibility option of the low-code part. That is hard to do that for partners, so we have to stick on other solutions. So we evaluate that one, and then we saw we have 5 different opportunities. So of course, and most of the SAP partners will start with that. They can use the APIs to connect to the S/4HANA system. But yeah, a lot, if you look at S/4HANA public cloud, a lot of actions are reacting on events, and that's already harder to get them connected to if you want to go directly. So of course you can use the integration suite, but also in that perspective, not every big customer will have an integration suite. So that is also limited if you want to have all the customers connect to your solution. And then of course you have 2 other options: SAP build code, where you are doing it in a CAP development on the NetWeaver or on the BTP stack, or you can go to ABAP. And yeah, when looking to all the options, we at the end choose for ABAP. So, and of course, we have to go for the newest ABAP, because in an S/4HANA public cloud system, you only have ABAP Cloud, and also on the BTP, you also only have ABAP Cloud. So for us, it was very important to understand what's happening in that perspective. And then, of course, I started in 1996 with classic ABAP, and we had a sub-basis layer below it. And ABAP evaluates a lot of times. And a couple of years ago, SAP made a decision that they will go with ABAP Cloud, and that they will wrap old objects and will restrict access, and also will go away from the objects which are obsolete. And so from that perspective, it is yeah, a restricted release, and we want to look if we can build our solution on top of that one. So SAP started with the ABAP Cloud on BTP in 2018. And then it brings it also to the ABAP public cloud as an embedded option, and also bring it back to the ABAP private cloud with an early release of that one. So if you could go look into the applications itself, then what will happen? So you will see we have the private cloud edition of SAP. There we still have those old code, but a lot of those code will not be available anymore in the public cloud environment. And on the other hand, on the public cloud environment, you see new innovations which are not available yet on the old S/4HANA public cloud, private cloud edition. So we have to look at if we want to build some solution and we want to have that one on both parts, we have to look at what will be then the best way to do it. And there we found out that ABAP Cloud will be the answer. But as mentioned, you also have some restrictions over there. But that's the place where we have to build our new custom code and add-ins to support both applications. So if you look a little bit to the shift to the cloud, then you see little things which are happening. So if you came from ECC, which is my background and also Octavian's background, then we saw that you have on-stack development. You have a lot of partner add-ons which are built on top of that stack already in classic ABAP, and you have to certify your code. And of course, every year you get new features by an updated ABAP stack to that one. But if you go to the cloud and S/4HANA system, then you see differences between those. Sure, you have on stack, and with the BTP you also can have side by side. But also for partners, there's a new opportunity because you can go in a SaaS model if you go to BTP, which of course you don't have that if you have that on your own stack situations. So also in the delivery, you have some differences, and also on the update of your ABAP stack, there will be a difference layer to that one. So when we saw this we saw an opportunity for us to look into that path, because existing add-on partners already have their code, but written in classic ABAP, and they have to ship their code to ABAP Cloud. And on the other hand, if you look at the strategy of SAP, they want to have more and more partners coming into the cloud area, so other cloud vendors can quickly enter the SAP partner network in the future if you are on the cloud. So, and that was what we saw. Okay, there's an opportunity definitely for the second part, because those cloud vendors, if they want to connect to an ABAP system, then they have to know a lot of knowledge, and they have to know a lot of resources, and also a lot of the developers have to learn that restricted ABAP to that one. So we thought about helping those cloud vendors by an OEM product we built to make a connection. And the idea behind it was not running it only on S/4HANA itself, but also bring it as an add-on of a BTP product side by side. So, and that's also what SAP delivers now. You can have your code line as a customer, you can build it as an add-on product, but you also have the opportunity to run it on the BTP and then connect it to your S/4HANA systems and provide it as a partner, as a SaaS solution. So we say, okay, we will build this product to help other companies to connect to S/4HANA on-premise and in the cloud. But yeah, where to start? Because if you are starting with building S/4HANA applications, then of course you should start somewhere. And if you are an early adopter, you don't have a lot of things already documented. There are no trainings to that one. So for us, when we start 1.5 years ago, it was just the feeling you see over here. You jump into the depth and look where all will happen. And of course, we know the old ABAP. we also feeling sometimes that we are in jail because we don't have the possibilities. We know that that possibilities are in that system, but they are not released or they are not there. So that's a strange feeling if you say, okay, I know this could be in this system, but it's not there already. And of course, you have to you learned a lot in the past, but you have to think about what you need in ABAP Cloud and what you have to forgot now because you cannot do it anymore at that way. So it was for us really a challenge to become from an old classic ABAPer to doing the new stuff in that way. So because there are a lot of things you cannot do anymore if you move to ABAP Cloud. So for example, the tooling shift. So you don't have any access anymore to your normal developer workbench in your ABAP sub GUI. You can use any old UI technologies anymore. You have to go for Fiori only if you are building an application which you want to be cloud ABAP of Clean Core ABAP ready. You don't can have any ABAP reports anymore. So you have to use an ABAP class and implement the main to run that one in your tooling. And you cannot access tables anymore directly. So you have to learn that new RAP model and also the CDSs, which are only released, you can use. So that are really restrictions you have to do. And of course, a lot of syntaxes are obsolete or replaced by new syntaxes. So besides, you have to forget a lot of your old things. You also have to learn a lot of new things to come into the Clean Core ABAP environment. And if you look at that one, the main stream you have to learn about is about the RESTful application programming model, and not only the techniques around it, but also the tooling around it, and also the quality. For example, if you cannot do it in a CDS, then probably you have to go one step deeper, and you also have access to the functionality of the HANA-DB, which is below it. And of course, you have to think about how you are using also other sources because you are in the cloud. So it's not only restricted to your own environment, but you also have to find out which applications, which functions I want to use externally. So there's a lot to learn and a lot of things to do. So, and yeah, if you look at the syntax, sometimes that's just a labyrinth for us. The shifts, you look into the S/4HANA public cloud system, and then you say, okay, what is written there? Because they have a lot of new syntaxes, which we are not familiar from the old days, and yeah, they are there, and you have to learn them. And it's even more complex because at the past we had, for example, our function modules. We had our classes we know, and they now rename them or do something with it. So here are a couple of examples. Of course, the classic ABAP and now inline declaration, where you have to know, but also that you have to know that the type of it is different depending on your quotes. The select statement is now more restrict, and you cannot access your tables anymore. So you have to find out which will be equivalent of your table in the CDS. Also, if you are using field symbols, then you see there's a new syntax, but it was very hard for us to find out what was the real syntax because it was not that well documented to that one. And then they have new libraries, and SAP in the cloud is promoting the XCO libraries. But yeah, there you see that you have multiple options for the same thing, which was very easy in the past. But you cannot do that that easy anymore if you go to ABAP Cloud. And of course, if you are working with business objects, we have now in REP, we have commit entities. In the old days, we only had commit works. How does that work, and how do you work with that? And also, a lot of the DDIC artifacts are cannot be used anymore because they are obsolete. So for us, it was a lot of learning curve to go through this one. And what's very important, there are a lot of functions we know from the old days, but they look a little bit like the same, but not exactly the same. So those statements and libraries, you say, okay, I know the libraries about using HTTP, for example, and then in ABAP Cloud they are renamed by Web HTTP, for example. So keep in mind that you will not get directly access to your old classes and to your old information. So, and SAP wrapped a lot of stuff. So, for example, ABAP classes and function modules, they are wrapped and replaced by other libraries. You don't have access to BGRC anymore. So they have a bgPF framework, but that's not finished yet. That is in process. Background jobs, you have to think about, but there's now application job frameworks, and you have to think about how you can use that one. Your tooling is shifting. Application log is differently. Also, your transport mechanism, you have the same TMS as you had in the past, but you also have now Git to solve things. So that's really some strange some modifications, some new things you have to do. So, for example, SAP deliver now also multi-auth capabilities. And that's meaning that partners, and that's very interesting for small partners, that they really can dispatch their software out to customers just by Git. So you don't have to certify your solution anymore. If you use this multi-auth delivery, you get the possibility to bring small pieces of code and bring that to the customer. But of course, that comes with a price. And that's meaning that your code, because it doesn't have to be certified anymore, you should write that in Clean Core ABAP. And there's one thing I learned a lot, if you are working in ABAP Cloud, that's not by default Clean Core ABAP. So and that's the reason about that one is that if you are doing ATC check for partner artifacts, for example, you get a lot of results, which mention you have to add a pragma over there, or you have to reface your statement because it should be the new statement. So, but SAP is helping a lot with that. If you look at the Clean ABAP site guidelines, the EDT plugin for ABAP Cleaner, and also ABAP will help you, SAP will help you more and more to create a unit test. And if you look at what's coming with Joule, then I think that's one of the biggest advantages you will get with Joule, that you can generate automatically ABAP unit tests for that one. So that was our feeling. That was our learnings as a person. But of course, if you do this kind of projects, you always get those challenges. You get those restrictions, and of course, you have to do then your workarounds to get it solved. So one of our workarounds was that we want to run our product on the different ABAP cloud environments. But as showed before, if you look at a life cycle of a system, it's different. If you look at the BTP, that will be updated every 3 months. So you will find a new code. But of course, on the other hand, on BTP, you also cannot use the artifacts which came from your S/4HANA solution below it. So on one hand, the biggest innovation sit on the ABAP Cloud on BTP, but of course, you cannot use there all the capabilities you have in an S/4HANA cloud system. But if you go to the S/4HANA cloud system, even there you will see that there are some topics, because the S/4HANA public cloud edition will be updated every 6 months. So every half year you will have the new capabilities. But if you look at private cloud, then you have to wait 2 years for it. So from that perspective, that was for us, something to oversee and also to look at. So what we did, we don't want to build our product every time again and again. And of course, in private clouds, you also have the possibility, if it's not ready yet for releasing your project, and it's not already ABAP Cloud ready, then you can fall back to the classic cloud using a 3-tier model. And for that, we make a decision that we say, okay, we don't want to build our product again and again for that one. So we take an intermediate layer in between where we develop our artifacts. So we didn't use SAP artifacts directly, but we use an intermediate layer in between. And because we want to be ready, we choose to start our developers on the public cloud edition, because we were thinking in the idea, if we are finished with the product, then in 2025, when S/4HANA private cloud will be on the same release, then we can directly also bring that product also to the private cloud. And of course, we can downport it also to the BTP, because there we already have all our solutions or all our ABAP statements over there. So then we say, okay, we also want to have it event enabled, and there we found out that in our test and a demo system, there was no event possibility available. And in your license you have it, but it is not by default available. So you have to request that using an SAP ticket. And in our solution, we also using that we want to inform people using our alerting engine. And then we had a class which we implemented, and we say, okay, it will work. And it did get any error, but at the end, we didn't get any email out of it. And then we found out that we have to do a little setup to do it, but that setup is cost a lot of steps. So if you want to send out email, look at that SAP note I written over there, because you have to do some configuration, but you also have to interact with SAP to make some changes in the system of SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud itself. So, and of course, in our solution, we want to show some application log settings, and that, of course, there is a standard application for application log to use. So we built our Fiori app, bring into the standard OData service, which was available also in the standard app. And then we try to deploy it to S/4HANA. And then we came with a surprise, because you can work in your Fiori elements, can run and can test it. But if you want to deploy it to S/4HANA, Clean Core is not allowed to, as a partner, to deploy OData version 2 services to S/4HANA. So we have to solve that also, and at the end, we create a custom entity to read the logs ourselves and expose that one as an OData version 4, and then the application works again. Also, because we want to have it as an OEM product, we want to have that the logos should be on our tiles and also on the application itself. And yeah, we have to make it dynamically, because we want to bring it as an OEM product. So we have to look at that a little bit. Now, getting the logo dynamically on the tile wasn't that hard, because we just can create an HTTP service for that one, which then gets the data from the logo and bring it to the tile. Getting it in a Fiori, normal Fiori app, that was harder. We have to extend the Fiori apps we are building to get that logo on top of it. And if you look at the process, we also want to connect our solutions to ECC systems, but not all ECC systems have already a good JSON handler into it. So we want to use another way to interact between that one, and we want to use XML. And there we found out that the XML, there's no default XML handler in S/4HANA Public Cloud. Of course, you can use transformation, but then you have to know the structure upfront. And we want to have it in a way just like we using a JSON. So if in the JSON structure a field is not there, it will be ignored. If it's a Boolean, then it should be also correct in the ABAP structure, and also for timestamps that should be the case. So we built our own HTML handler for that, to solve that one. And I can tell you, we did that with the XEO classes, and that worked very well. So now I will hand over it to my colleague Octavian. We will go into a little bit the other topics.
So maybe I can take over the screen, Robert?
Well, I can click for you. Is the...
Okay, but I will have to take over the screen because I need to do the demos as well.
Yeah, okay.
So I think it would be better that I do it. Hi, everybody. So my name is Octavian. I worked with Robert on this challenging journey, let's say. We discovered quite a lot of interesting stuff. So now I take over just to show you a couple of other challenges that we have faced while building this product. Just let me know if the screen is fine.
Yeah.
So moving on with other types of challenges that we have identified as we were building our product. One particular aspect that appeared with ABAP Cloud and with the RESTful ABAP programming is the SAP controlled LUV. This is something new that appears in RAP. SAP controlled LUV is always enforced in all the RAP behavior methods. So in any time you're writing some code somewhere in those methods, then you are for sure in an SAP controlled LUV. Also, the SAP controlled LUV is enforcing the background processing framework controlled units. So in bgPF controlled units, it's the same thing. And also, since the local handling of RAP events are executed with bgPF controlled units, the SAP controlled LUV is enforced in there as well. So for us, one of the big challenges with SAP controlled LUV was that you cannot within your session do any commit work or commit entities. And for us, in order to manage our framework, it was important to do several commit works, one or more several commit works in the same ABAP session. So for sure that was an impediment when working with the controlled LUV. Even if you, so the controlled LUV has two stages, the modify stage and the save stage. Even if you try to enforce the save stage, still a commit work will not work. Of course, this is how these are the restrictions of the SAP controlled LUV. And I will just quickly show you a demo intentionally creating some short dumps due to the fact that I'm trying to do to perform some forbidden statements in an SAP controlled LUV. Another point is that any Fiori action is an SAP controlled LUV as well when you work with RAP objects. So for example, if you want to perform from a Fiori app an action and then execute the commit work inside that session as well, because you need it by some reason, that's also not possible. were our challenges, and we found that in order to overcome them, one possibility, especially when you have several tasks that you need to commit and into the same ABAP internal session, is to use uncontrolled bgPF units instead of raising RAP events. Initially, when we started the development of our product, we were using RAP objects and RAP events quite extensively. And we realized that this is creating more havoc in our product. So we decided at some point that we'd better use uncontrolled bgPF units instead of raising RAP events. And anyway, a RAP event is handled locally also by a bgPF unit, only that bgPF unit is controlled. So that's how we faced one of our challenges. And the other one, for example, if you really want to perform an action from a Fiori app, what we decided was to just do a separate HTTP call for the Fiori action, so that we can perform the right commit work wherever we needed. So now it's the time to show you just a quick demo. Let's take one example. If we have the, just one moment. So if we have the, let's say, a standard business object in SAP S/4HANA, like the product, and let's say that our scenario is that when a user modifies a product in S/4HANA, we want to create a message, an outbound message that goes out from S/4HANA and is managed by our framework, our API Connect product that we have built. And for this one, basically there is a standard, as I said, RAP business object for product, and once I modify a product, I want to execute also my outbound message. For this, what you would do is that you would have a class which is going to be created for handling the events of this business object. This is the business object, and then just a moment, because I need to re-log on. Okay, going back. Product. Okay, so once I change a product, I want that an outbound message is created out of my S/4HANA system. There's a local handler of the event product changed, which I am treating here in this class. And basically, I won't get into too much detail, but for example, let's say that I want to simply raise this message. This is done with our functionality for our framework, for our product. But as we said, I'm inside a controlled bgPF unit at the time when I'm doing that, and you will see that I will receive an error when I'm trying to do that. So going back to the Fiori app, if let's say I'm just editing and just changing some text, doesn't matter what, then I save, and then you will see that my business event, my RAP business event handler will kick off, and basically I will not go inside, but I will just execute it. And what we will see is that after that, we will have here just a refresh. We will have here the error that I'm doing an insert into a database table. I'm inside a controlled LUV, SAP controlled LUV, and that's not allowed because I'm in the modify phase anyhow. So the next thing that I could do, I could say, okay, then I want to enforce manually the save sequence. I want to enforce the save sequence and then see if that's working. So I'm doing that. I'm just going to edit again. Just delete this dummy text that I put in there, save again. It will go inside. So my handler is kicking off again. One small thing to mention is that I'm inside the controlled bgPF unit, and I know that because you see somewhere in the call stack, I can see that there's a controlled operation called. So this is how I know for sure that I'm inside the controlled bgPF. So now I'm gonna execute this one again, and what you'll see is that I have yet another short dump. I will just refresh. And this short dump this time is not that I inserted. I used the insert statement that's allowed because I enforced the save sequence, but I also do a commit work, as I said, because we need also this several commit works actually. So now this is the next thing that I'm facing. So as I mentioned previously, what we decided in these cases was that, okay, in this kind of scenario, I will not simply directly start my outbound message, but actually I am going to start an uncontrolled bgPF unit using one of our SDK classes. Robert mentioned a little bit earlier that we have built also a kind of framework that's helping us to build our applications. So what we do now is just that we are going to do another change, but this time it will go successfully because I'm going to, from this handler, this event handler, I'm going to start a separate uncontrolled bgPF unit, and this time it will be successful. So just editing again and test and save, do some text. So this time I'm gonna execute it, and you will see that I will have no new short dumps. If I refresh it, it's still the last one that I see. And also you will see, we can see, like we have in our monitor, we see that there's a product outbound message that was created in the framework. So basically, this is how we decided to overcome this challenge, one of many. Going further, this bgPF units was quite a big topic for us because it faced us with a lot of issues. So as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, we tried to do our development using RAP business events, and so that we can perform small tasks in each and every handler, and that proved to be not good from a performance point of view, because we were actually creating in the system a lot of bgPF units, which actually are the plain old bgrfc units, and the system was taking a lot of time to execute them. So that's why the performance reason was also one that moved let's say guided us to go to uncontrolled bgPF units. And the other one was that basically in S4HANA public cloud you cannot do any kind of system settings, but we needed to raise a ticket to SAP to raise the number of work processes assigned to bgrfc processing, because we needed that. So those are the two main things that we did in order to improve the performance, and now we have a very good performance as well. Unfortunately, what we discovered is that the standard SAP app for bgrfc queuing, it's also called bgrfc, even though in S4HANA it's a bgPF framework now in S4HANA public cloud and in ABAP cloud. But anyway, that app, that bgrfc queue app, was a little bit difficult to use and to get some good information out of it. So you have seen a little bit what is the process that we are using inside our framework. And what we discovered, what we needed as well in our framework was a good controlling option over the ABAP internal sessions that are being generated so that one message is processed inside our framework. And in an on-premise system, we had a lot more options. We had the possibility to use EPP passports. We have the possibility to use some standard classes to give us some information about the sessions. Also, for us, it's very important to somehow realize if or figure out if there was any kind of short dump that happened during the processing of our message, because we want to interact on that. We want to do some proactive actions on that. So this is the reason why, because we have these challenges, we want to get more information about ABAP internal sessions. We decided that we want to build our own ABAP internal session tracker functionality. So basically, we want to understand for one of our messages, how many ABAP sessions are being created, what kind of ABAP sessions we have in there, and to understand if there was, or try to figure out if there was a short dump or not while one of these sessions is running. So for this, I'm gonna show you just another small example. I'm gonna use Postman just to trigger an inbound message into our S/4HANA public cloud system. I'm gonna send here a message. And once I send it, it will send me back a message UUID. And basically, now if I go back into our system and I'm gonna open, so we have created this entire small framework that is tracking our internal sessions. So this we haven't created any UI on it yet, so that's why I'm gonna just show you the entries. The entries in this table. So this is the table where I'm tracking the internal sessions that were created to process my message. So now if I just put this record UUID that was generated, I can see that there were a couple of ABAP internal sessions that were created to generate, process my message. I can see that they were all dialogue work processes, and it's also very important to understand what kind of sessions those were. The first one was an HTTP session because it was the HTTP call that Postman has performed on the S/4HANA cloud system, and the other ones because we are, as I told you, we are launching bgPF uncontrolled units. All the other sessions were just bgPF uncontrolled units, and I can see this from the stack starting point. What's also very good for us is that we store the bgPF unit ID so that we can later on just figure out the status of that bgPF unit ID and see if there was an error or not. And furthermore, we also have an indicator if the session is finished or not. And this is a good indicator because, for example, if you have a bgPF session which has started 1 hour ago and has not finished yet, then you might as well be sure that that was a short dump in that session because a dialogue work process should have been finished in more than 1 hour. So again, this tool is just trying to help us understand what is happening in our framework. Then another point that we had while building this product with us was working with application jobs. As Robert mentioned as well a little bit earlier, in ABAP Cloud, you can only use the application job framework to create background jobs in the system. And any S/4HANA system needs application jobs running for different reasons. In our case, for example, we also want to execute our messages that go into the framework as jobs because they are long-running executions. So we faced a few problems in here as well. The biggest and most striking one was the fact that we cannot debug an application job the same as we would do it in the on-premise system, where you would go in SM37 and we just debug that job. Here, that's not possible. Then also what we discovered is that if you have a technical user that is trying to, at runtime, create a background job, then this is not possible. So a technical user cannot create a background job at this moment. And also, you need to also take into consideration that maybe you have some periodic jobs that you don't want to run at the same time. So you can prevent this by putting up some code, and that's the easiest challenge that we faced, and we managed to solve the last one, because we just have the right APIs from SAP through which we can check whether an instance of a job is running or not, and if another instance is running, you just stop the other job. The other point, that you cannot start a job with a technical user, we decided to tackle just by starting this job with another business user. So you have another job running that is going to pick up the creation of the new job, and basically you start the job not directly, but you start it with a business user, even though it should have been started with a technical user. So that's how you overcome this issue. And the biggest one, from my point of view, this issue is that Oh, I understand. The biggest one is that you cannot debug the application job. So for that, what we decided was just to create. Oh, let me just exit from here. We decided just to create an app. Actually, a functionality that would allow us to save variables at runtime for our application job. So, for example, if you have an application job running and you just insert in the code, I will just quickly show you how it looks like. If you insert this kind of very straightforward statements, you are able to trace what's happening into the application with the variables into the application job. So, for example, if I would have run this demo dummy job, then I would see, and I want to trace some variables, some variable content, I would get this kind of information. And even if I navigate further, I could see, okay, what was there in my internal table accounting doc, or what was there in my read failed table, and so on and so forth. So with this, I think I am already 2 minutes. We still have 2 minutes, so I would let's say maybe stop the share. We still have 2 minutes for conclusions. Robert, maybe you want to add a couple of more things.
No, we only have the finishing part. So we have our takeaway points. There's a lot to forget, but there's also a lot to learn if you are an ABAP developer and you want to go into the ABAP cloud environment. I think what was very important for us to understand is that ABAP Cloud is still under construction, but yeah, the existing feature set is very rich and you can do a lot with it. And sometimes you have to overcome it. Also, many roads lead to Rome, so it's very important to find out first for which S/4HANA release you want to build your solution, or in general for which S/4HANA system you want to do it. And yeah, we built that kit, and we are available for questions, or if someone needs to ask some additional part, then yeah, we are. You can. We have some barcodes on the slides, and also here you can contact us directly, and then we can help you. Yeah, that was it from our side. Thank you very much for joining this session, and also the ABAPConf team. Thanks very much that we can share that with you.
Yeah, also from my side, thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm happy to be part of this event. It's really nice.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. Some points looks very, very frustrating or stuff like try and error to me. So I think it was really hard to build this stuff. But at least you found a solution or you found workarounds. And yeah, this makes me also confident that this clean core concept works. So really cool.
Indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So perfect. Then let's start with the meet the speaker sessions. I see Simon and Pankaj are also already here. As you might know, meet the speaker is about you. So you might tell us everything you want the audience to know about you, about your work, about your community stuff, about your Git repos or stuff like this. It's completely up to you what you want to tell us. But I have one thing that I want to know or I'm interested in. I have recently many discussions with old developers or let's say experienced developers, or you had in the slide you had it in the slide, traditional developers, about all this new stuff. Actually, the last argument was about NPM in the Visual Studio Code, and this is all shit, and I don't want to have this. And we already saw a lot of tools and environments, and so today, and many of these traditional developers are scared about this and they want to learn this new stuff. They are not willing to learn it, and yeah, they deal with the old ABAP things. Often I then mention, okay, we had smart forms, we had business server pages, we had the XI, the web tympos or CM web UI. So all technologies introduced by SAP, which are not really ABAP, and they also learned it. And most of them then say, yeah, okay, but yeah, it's still in sub GUI. So my question is, do you also face such problems? Do you also face, at least you, Robert, and Octavian, have traditional developers? And maybe you have a hint how to help them to get this knowledge, at least to the latest, most important stuff they need to know, so that they are not scared and can also develop in a new modern way. If you have a hint, it would be great to share with us. If not, then yeah, that was
I can tell you my feeling, Domi. What I've by going deeper into these things, I discovered that basically it's not completely new. If you go deeper, you would see even the bgPF framework, for example. It's plain old BGRFC, only that it's wrapped and it's more restricted. The application jobs. In the background, it's also a report that is running your class and that is providing an ID for your job and so on and so forth. So basically, I think you are even in a stronger position if you come from classic ABAP. You know a lot of things, and you even know the beneath the surface what's in there, because those are just additional layers that were built on top of the existing functionality. It was some things are getting renewed, some things, yeah, but it's not like a big revolution out of nowhere. So it's just building on top and building on top. So it's a matter of understanding the new things. It's a matter of understanding how they work. It's frustrating because you know you could have done it a little bit easier in previous times. But I think it's doable, and this kind of traditional knowledge in ABAP quite helps quite a lot.
Yeah, I think additional to that one, it's for new ones, they have to learn a lot. Also how SAP is working, so they even have to learn more. Of course, they don't have the backlog of the old classic statements. On the other hand, the traditional developers, has the knowledge how the SAP system is working. And yeah, sometimes it's frustrating because you know that you could do it in a classic system, and you can not do it anymore. I think the most important part to learn is that yeah, you don't have the UIs anymore. So take small steps, but learn Fiori, learn the new syntaxes in your system, and keep in mind it costs time to get it. So you cannot do a big bang. So you have to learn every time. And what we did at our company was every time we took small pieces, and then during time, if you have a time frame from 3 years, you are on the new stuff. But it's too many things to think you can have a big bang to that one. So the only thing I can advice I can give, just try starting to learn.
Okay, perfect.
Couple of points from my side. I believe SAP is throwing a lot of new terms in the market, so that's why it also creates confusion, right? So earlier it was embedded steampunk, then now it is ABAP cloud in all the platforms, right? So sometimes a traditional developer, lost his way, right? You are learning about why it is ABAP cloud now. I mean, why we are renaming it, right? So this is what is also happening. It keeps on changing the terms, but I agree with Octavian and Robert also. I mean, the underlying models, sometimes they feel same, even if you look at the released CDS views. In the end, they're also writing a select query on Mara, right? So Mara table. So underlying, it's quite similar. If we dig deep, there are layers created. So same goes with this generative AI thing, right? So I'm an ABAP developer. I don't have to be expert in Gen AI, but if I know a little bit of it, how to use it and all, then it would be fine. I mean, we can fit in the traditional as well as in modern ABAP. So yeah. So I think if we keep tracking all this and don't confuse only with the terms and just stay on the basics, then I think it will work fine for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Any further comments? Simon, maybe?
No, not really. I mean, I'm a fairly new wave of developer. If I'm 24 years old, so I come from the new generation of of developers, and yeah, I get it. I understand that changes can be scary for somebody who's always used to, even the environment is different. So I get it. But I guess it's inedible. So I have to try. You'll see that it's probably not as bad as you may expect. That's at least what I think. But again, I don't have the kind of background that many other experienced ABAP developers have in this conference. So.
But let me tell you this. I mean, it's a very nice meeting point because you see a very fresh view on things. For us, let's say persons with more experience, we don't see it anymore. So I'm interested in all the perspectives. So your perspective is quite unique and interesting.
I appreciate it. Thank you.